my name is Mason and welcome to my channel, Bread and Babies. Today I want to do a review of wearable breast pumps, the Willow 3.0 and Elvie Stride, and how they worked for me as an ICU travel nurse and give some of the pros and cons of those. I just finished a travel nursing contract. I started when my baby was 2 months old and finished when she was 7 months old. And having wearable breast pumps really saved my breastfeeding journey. With my first child, I did not know anything about wearable breast pumps. Going to work was very challenging for me, figuring out how to pump, and ultimately I just quit pumping. This time around, I seriously wanted to be able to breastfeed and to be able to pump, and I knew that with travel nursing it would be hard to get pump breaks, especially in an ICU setting, which is so fast-paced. So I invested at first in the Willow 3.0 breast pump. Initially, this breast pump has a pretty high cost, around $500, and it felt like a huge investment, but I knew that if it worked as well as it said it would, that it would be great and I would be able to work with it. So here is the Willow 3.0. These pumps have gotten a lot of use and I really do like them. There are some cons to them, the main one being the price. These are quite expensive, and the reusable bags are expensive at about 50 cents a piece. So when you're pumping each side, you're thinking it's about $1 a pump session. But these are great. They go under the shirt and they're relatively quiet, and it's really neat. They pair to an app on your phone, so you can track how much output you've had and how long you've been pumping. You can increase and decrease suction on the pump through the pump or through your phone and pause it. They turn off automatically at 25 minutes, which for me was great because I would just run to the bathroom, pop them on, and then when they turned off, I knew it was either full or it had been 25 minutes. They only hold 4 ounces, which can be a con. They were not effective as my first morning pump because when I first woke up I would get more than 4 ounces, so they weren't effective for that, but throughout the working day they were great. As with every pump, you need to make sure you're sized correctly. With this Willow, it has a very intense suction, so I found that was even more important. The flange sizes are 24 and I believe 28 millimeters, which are not the correct sizes for most people. For me personally, I had to order an insert to go in here to make it comfortable. Otherwise, you can have issues like blistering and discomfort, and there's a variety of other issues it can cause. But Willow does sell adapters if you need a different flange size, which I found to be great, and they fit perfectly and were quite comfortable. Willow has reusable bags, which are leak proof. So with the reusable bag, it's right here. You just pop it in and you can pump in any position and it won't leak. I found this to be true. I wore these in all kinds of situations at work. I wore them when charting, which was simple. When moving around, I have bent over turning patients. One time I was pumping in an emergency arose and I ended up having to get into sterile gear. I was able to pump through the entire emergent procedure, and when the pump stopped, it just stayed in place and nothing leaked. And then when I was able to leave the patient's room about an hour later, I could go to the bathroom and just take it off, which was great. Another huge pro to this pump is that you don't have to mess with pouring the milk into bottles after you're done pumping. So you can go into work or go into the refrigerator and take this bag out and just toss it into your lunchbox. It's very discreet and there's no messing around with pouring bottles, you know, all of that. It's just take the bag out, toss it in your lunchbox, you're good to go. And I find this setup is relatively easy to clean. It's only 2 parts once you take the bag out. So it was really convenient to use this and to clean it at work. The disadvantage, I will say, is it is pretty bulky. So you either need to wear a loose fitting scrub top or make sure you have some kind of jacket over your scrubs. I found that it was not comfortable with fitted scrubs. So wear loose fitting scrubs or size up. Overall though, I would say this pump was amazing. It also, if you don't want to spend $1 every time you pump with reusable bags, you can purchase separately reusable milk containers. These, however, are not leak proof. There is a valve up here, so if you bend over, it will leak out the top of your valve. So I do not recommend these ones as much for working in an ICU setting. If you're going to be bending over, they would be great for charting. Also, you have to pour it up into a bottle afterwards. You pull that valve up and pour it in. So if you want something easy while you're at work, I recommend milk bags. But if we're at home, these worked great as well and saved a little bit of money. Now, the other pump that I invested in is the Elvie Stride. This is a newer pump by Elvie, and it's much more cost effective than the traditional Elvie or the Willow 3.0. And comparatively, it is much slimmer. The cups are much slimmer than the 3.0, which is nice. It's less noticeable under your shirt. Now, these ones are hands-free. They go in your bra, but they are not tube-free. So you have a hub here, and they click in like that. I also used these as a pump at work when I was waiting for more bags to arrive. Or one time I had a glitch with one of my Willows and they sent me a replacement one. The customer service is wonderful to work with, but I was waiting for a replacement pump, so I did use this Elvie at work, and I found that it was great if I was going to be sitting still at a lunch break or charting, but overall it was more difficult to use in the ICU setting, because if you bend over and one of these tubes gets kinked off, it doesn't suction properly, or it can leak out the top where there is an air vent. This pump does hold more than 4 ounces though. It goes up to 5 here, and I have actually filled it up to 7 without leaking if I'm sitting upright. This is the pump that I used first thing in the morning, and I never had issues with overfilling, and it went over 4 ounces. Now this pump has an app as well where you can see how long you've been pumping, but it does not automatically turn off after 25 minutes. It goes until you stop it, and it does not track your output. So if output tracking is important to you, this is not the pump for you. If it's not as important to you, this is an excellent pump. I am happy though that the Willow stops after 25 minutes, because if I would have been wearing this pump in an emergent situation where I was stuck in the patient's room for an hour, it would have suctioned for an hour unless I stopped to turn it off in the patient's room. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend this one for direct patient care. However, I do love it as a pump, and it is pretty quiet. This pump I use every single day. My Willow pump I use if I'm out and about or working. So great pumps, but definitely different uses. Overall though, you can't go wrong with one of these wearable breast pumps. I so appreciate both of them and what they did for my breastfeeding journey. I am still able to breastfeed at 8 months, and I am so thankful that I purchased these.